So new moon in Capricorn. What does this new moon have in store for the collective? So we have the Knight of Cups as well as death. Oh my gosh, my brain was like, I kept wanting to say the devil, but it is not the devil, it is death. Interesting. So what does this new moon have in store for you? For us as a collective, I hear like surrendering to change. With this Knight of Cups, so interesting, when the Knight of Cups, I think of steady, I think of moving forward at a pace that really makes sense for the Knight. Cups in the tarot represent emotion, so it's like moving forward with your emotions in a steady, stable way. And that doesn't mean always positive. That means really embracing both the positive and the negative, both the useful and the not so useful emotions, and especially the not so useful, really surrendering those to what you can change. Death represents change in the tarot. It represents new beginnings. And interesting because this death card reminds me of Beauty and the Beast, probably because there's a rose in the in the hourglass. And in my brain, what's really popping up is the transformation at the end that Beast goes through. I have not seen that movie in forever. But you know, like, isn't there a part in the movie where like there's like a whirl of like glitter and then he changes into the prince? I don't know, something about that. It's like shedding that beastly, like aggressive, emotional state. And, you know, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's bitterness, whether that's anger, whether that's frustration, whatever that looks like for you, but kind of shedding that for 2022, like for this new moon, for the intentions of like, how can you really shed that? Interesting. This song, like the TikTok that like put some respect on my name, that keeps popping up in my head. So I'm curious if it's like, what emotions do you want to carry forward with you in 2022 that like put respect on your name, that like make you feel like you respect yourself, like you respect your journey, that you respect and boundaries. I'm also hearing boundaries. Like, what boundaries are you also creating? Because this rose is really pretty. But it's encased in something. So just because it has a boundary around it doesn't mean it isn't beautiful. And I know sometimes that can be scary, thinking about putting boundaries, especially with this Venus retrograde in Capricorn, thinking about the relationships you want in your life and which ones aren't moving forward with you, which ones aren't helping you accomplish your goals, or maybe which relationships are helping you accomplish, but maybe you need to put a little bit more boundaries around. That could be something else that this new moon has in store for you, for really looking at those relationships, especially in like for what you want to achieve. Especially Capricorns are about achievement. So in areas where you want to achieve something big, where can you put better boundaries on that? Where can you put better boundaries on that with different people? Interesting. I don't even remember those cards flipping over. Interesting. Well, the next cards are the energy, for the energy that you have during this new moon in Capricorn. So we have both Justice and the Ten of Swords. So interesting. Earlier I was talking about shedding that not so useful, aggressive, angry, bitter, frustrated, whatever persona, with this Page of Cups, like what you want to surrender to death. It's really interesting that the Ten of Swords comes out as well, because this person is, swords in the tarot represent your thoughts, and this person is literally, they're stabbing themselves with their thoughts. They're really going through the ringer. And when I see this card, I think the colors in it really remind me that, like, although you have the ability to be potentially self-deprecating, or sometimes you have the ability to really put yourself down, there's still a lot of hope in that. There's still a lot of like hope to change it around with this new moon cycle, with this surrender. You really, because this card, even though they are, they're really going through it. Although they're really going through it on this card, I still think it's such a pretty card. And especially the sun. The sun is currently in Capricorn, and it really, dependent on your own personal birth chart and where Capricorn lives, it really is illuminating, because Capricorns do have a tendency, when stressed out or when not living truly in alignment, Cap can tend to be cynical. Capricorn can tend to be very hard on itself, very hard on others. Capricorn can have very high expectations for themselves, and we all have Capricorn in us. You don't necessarily have to be a Cap sun, especially because this card specifically represents Gemini. But just because the sun is in Capricorn right now, depending on where that is in your chart is where you tend to express those Capricorn tendencies. And especially I see this as being super, super hard on yourself, but with justice coming out with it, the energy of this new moon is giving yourself, the word that keeps popping up is reprieve. Is that a word? Reprieve, reprieve? I'm gonna look this up. It is a word. It means cancellation or postponement of a punishment. But with justice coming out with the 10 of Swords, justice can reprieve you. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that right. Reprieve you. It can forgive. It can abolish whatever, those unuseful thoughts, those judgmental, those self-criticism, those cynical thoughts that you have. Justice is all about harmony. It's all about, in my head, it's like playing fair. Justice is fair. You might not necessarily always agree with it, just like you might not actually agree with some of these self-deprecating thoughts or judgments that you have on yourself. They're just very well trained thought processes. We're all trained in a way to really doubt ourselves, to really doubt our abilities, especially if you're a woman in the Western world, especially if you are any type of marginalized community. You're really trained to see all these things as flaws, and they can really build up on you. But justice is here to remind you to be fair to yourself, to really look at these swords and take out the ones that aren't for you and give them over to justice, give them over to this change, give them over to death. You can write out an obituary for all of your self-deprecating thoughts and bury them or something, or some kind of, or you could have a trial. I'm a nerd. I used to be in mock trial in in high school and college. And if you really wanted to, do a little trial, write each one of these self-deprecating thoughts that aren't going to help propel you through 2022, and be the judge. Are you keeping this? Are you not keeping this? Venus retrograding Capricorn with partnerships. Who are you keeping? Who are you getting rid of? Same with thoughts. Same with the partnership with yourself. How is that rebirthing in this new moon in Capricorn as well as in 2022? So the next card is going to be, what do you need to be open to? What do you need to be open to? What does the collective need to be open to in 2022? Interesting. I'm going to take the card that actually jumped out. Judgment. You need to be open to judgment, but also open to this card. I always think of guardian angels talking to you. It's this person with a trumpet literally exclaiming, explaining something. It's literally telling everyone, where do I want to put it? I want to put it here. It's exclaiming to your guardian angels, are like directly talking to you. This deck, I always think of sleep. I don't know, something about this to me is really dreamy. So you might be someone who really is connected to your dreams, really hears a lot of things in your dreams, but something you need to be open to in this new moon cycle are accepting messages from your guides, your angels, from your dreams, as well as not judging yourself, not judging yourself as harshly as you did in 2021, as you do, previous, it could be 2022 right now. I mean, it is, it's 2022 right now, and you still could be very judgmental of yourself. Old habits die hard, for sure. So something you need to approach is maybe less judgment for yourself, as well as what are those messages coming in from your guides? What are those messages coming in during your sleep? And it's kind of like, I'm hearing like, don't ignore it. I'm like, something about these symbols on the bottom, something about the symbols on the bottom They remind me of targets. They remind me of targets. It's like your guides, whoever has been giving you messages and guidance maybe before, they're asking you for this new moon in Capricorn in 2022, in January 2022, to like really write down those intentions, really write down what those targets are for you. You don't need to have the answer. You don't need to like know step by step of how you're going to get there, but just write out a target you have. And this card is like, be open to receiving guidance to hit those targets. That's kind of what I'm hearing. It's like even these little noise, exclamation sound things like could be little arrows down to zap the target. These people are so open and receptive to the message. I think that's something big. I think that's something big for you for this new moon in Capricorn for January 2022 is like, be open, be receptive to those messages, because they're going to really, I keep hearing the word propel. They're going to really propel you forward. I keep saying that word. I don't know, propel you forward. That's just what I hear, like propel. I don't know. I did just watch a video on boats, so maybe just boat propellers are stuck in my head. Something about propelling you forward. So something that wants to manifest during this new moon for you. Oh, we had a card drop on the floor. So that's the card. These cards just don't want to stay in my hand. Okay, so something that wants to manifest during this new moon. We have Ace of Cups. I love this card. I love the cups in this deck. They're just so like, I don't know, ethereal and like just make me want to like, I don't know, be in a bath, even though I'm not like a huge bath person. Something about these just make me want to be like a Greek goddess. What wants to manifest for you this new moon? A new way of feeling about yourself. A new way of feeling about, yeah, yourself. Cups in the tarot represent your emotions. They represent how you feel about yourself or other people. They can represent relationships as well. So for some of you, maybe a new type of relate, especially with this Venus, you know, in retrograde, someone new might be coming into your life that helps, again, propel you forward, that helps move you towards your ambitions and your goals for 2022. But I really think since the theme was self-judgment, getting rid of those thoughts that aren't as useful, those frustrations, that bitterness, that anger, like by really judging those thoughts and determining what's coming forward, what is not coming forward, that's going to like birth a new relationship for yourself. You're going to really manifest a new relationship with yourself, for yourself, as well as I hear like shower you with love. I always think with this like lotus on the bottom of this card of just being like, I don't know, like a love flower, something about love. So just, yeah, a new way to fall in love with yourself. Maybe, you know, even actually fall in love with something or somebody, especially if this is a goal, like a business goal or an academic goal or something like that. Really falling in love with that journey, really falling in love with that passion. But I really hear falling in love with yourself. Really manifest a new relationship with yourself this new moon. So the last card is how you can focus on bringing this into reality. So interesting, we have the Hangman as well as the Chariot. So in the Hangman, I see dreaming. I see dreaming again. I see like your dream self, your shadow self, as well as your real life self interacting and meeting and exchanging ideas, exchanging visions for whatever goals, whatever aspirations, whatever things you want to achieve, either this year, this moon cycle, whenever you're watching this. So yeah, I'm getting, and again, I said that with the judgment, something about, and dreams don't necessarily have to mean when you're asleep. Daydreams are dreams. Like when you're just awake and you're daydreaming about the life you could have or the thing you want to accomplish, that is a form of dream. Like write those down, study those. Like what are you doing? How are you feeling? How can you like what are you thinking while you're daydreaming? Like what would that person do? What would that person do with the Chariot? The Chariot's all about like, go, let's leave this town, let's start this new adventure. In a way kind of like I hear like rebel spirit in a way of like, how can I rebel against the person who I was, and not in like a bad way, or you know what I mean, not in like a destructive way, not rebelling in a destructive way, but rebel against some of the thought processes you have, some of the judgments you have about yourself. How can you rebel about that and really live that dream life? That's how can you focus your attention. It's like paying attention to any daydreams, if you do automatic writing, maybe automatically, like as in you just write 3 pages and don't even think about it, and then reread those 3 pages and then go out and act on it. The energy will come, like your focus will come as you do. It's like you do quick check-ins with your higher self through these, nighttime dreams, through these daydreams, through this journaling practice, whatever you have, and then pick an action from it and do it. And the clarity and focus will come through that action. And especially the Cancer, like the safe spaces. That's why I'm like rebel, but rebel. Cancer's love. They care. They're just a water sign. I just mean like it feels very fluid. It feels very like, yeah, you'll get focus as you flow, as you move, as you act on it. So next we're gonna go, I have a couple of oracle decks that called to me and said that they also wanted to appear and give a message. So the first deck is a numerology deck, and these are numbers that you might resonate with. They're numbers that might be confirmation for you or reminders for you, as well as messages. Does that one want to come out? That one wanted to come out. Okay. So the one we have is 21. 21, I am inspiring. You are highly creative with a strong will to succeed. Your imagination is highly charged. It reveals itself in everything you do, from your sparkling conversation to your most prized projects. I am inspiring. So the I am inspiring, it reveals itself in everything you do. That reminds me of the Chariot. Like, how do you bring in focus? How do you really attract your desire into your reality for this full moon cycle for 2022? For 2022. Like, just by acting. Like, you are inspiring others, and you inspire yourself as you act, as you go out and do it, and just go forward. I keep hearing with minimal distraction. I think I'm thinking of the original Chariot and the Rider-Waite deck. The 2 horses are they horses? I can't remember, but they're going opposite ways, and it's kind of like, don't just go and like don't have, or they're panthers. No, this is panthers. Like, whatever. Don't let them split. Like, keep them steady, keep them together. So I'm also hearing that, whatever that means for you, and however that means when you however that lands for like when you take action, know you're inspiring, but don't just act. That's what I'm trying to get at. Don't just act to act. Act deliberately. Act with an intention that aligns, or act with intention, I guess is what I'm trying to, that Solange, there's like a Solange interlude that's like, nothing without intention. Do nothing without intention. That's like what I'm hearing right now. All right, and then last card, or cards, whatever wants to come out. This Oracle deck, this is just a summary, just a summary of the vibe. A summary of the vibe. It looks like 2 cards came out. So the 2 cards, so we have one. The first card is number 32, Adapt. And then the second card is number 20, Fruit. Interesting. This card came out for me the other day. Actually, it didn't come out for me. It came out for somebody I was doing a reading for the other day. Okay. So I am going to read these out of the book, because usually they come with prompts or things like that. But I don't know, Adapt is really calling out to me, especially with, I was just saying about acting deliberately, like making sure in this instance it's a panther and a lion. Make sure they don't go two separate ways when you act, but really that you're going together. So Adapt is really sticking out to me with that. But let me look in the book. So for Adapt, and I do not know if I'm saying this right. Chariklo is the astrological guide of this card, and she is all about impartial understanding. Interesting, just like judgment, impartial understanding. There is a softness that aids being able to adapt. After all, it's easier to adapt when you're somewhat malleable. Chariklo is offering you, and maybe I've heard this before, and I just like I've never seen this. So Chariklo is offering you the ability to see things without attaching too much emotion. She offers gentle, stable growth. Through this growth, you'll gain strength and maturity. The stone pictured is a jasper, which is only found in Madagascar. Notice the many layers of minerals that have come together to create this lovely, nurturing stone. Ocean jasper has come to you to remind you that patience is needed to adapt to whatever comes your way. It offers you the perspective of 1,000 years and help you release emotional blockages. Take some time to explore what places you feel rigid and where you need to offer softness. Exactly like what we were saying. Where are you judging yourself too harshly, and where do you need to bring in that impartial, that kind, that harmonious energy of Libra, of the judgment card? Or not the judgment card, of the justice card. An important piece of this is being aware of any stories you tell yourself. What are your mental scripts? Are they working for you, or is it time for you to adjust them? Exactly what we've been talking about this whole thing. This new moon in Capricorn in 2022, 2022 for you in general is really, how do you release those mental scripts? How do you judge yourself less? Be more harmonious. How do you, again, I said surrender to change. How do you surrender? Literally let those thoughts and stories die. How do you let those happen for you, that death card, to move forward? So the affirmation with this card is, all things in life change. I will adapt willingly and easily. Interesting. So the next card we have is fruit. Sometimes there can't be any skip steps. This is one of those times. If fruit has found its way into your hands, then it might be time to slow down and do some analyzing. Interesting, analyzing. Again, your internal story. If something isn't going quite how you'd like it, do it again and in a different way. You can't expect anything to change unless you do something differently. Yes, exactly. Interesting. Yes, you cannot move forward, that propelling. You can't propel forward with all these swords in your back. You got to take some of them out. Slow growth can be painful and uncomfortable. There may be a sense that you just want to get where you're going, and you will, but there are steps that must be followed in order for you to get there. You know what these are. Be gentle with yourself and be open to trying again and again and again if you need to. Getting something right on the first try is great, but it isn't usually realistic. This should be a time of refining your process and honing your craft. Practice, work, be open, adaptable to new ideas and new processes. Fruit is coming your way. Just allow yourself to nurture the details into your life. Interesting. And I think about, like, with this daydreaming, the two cards, both the Judgment and the Hanged Man, of like that connection between your dream life and your higher self and your life here on earth. It is like a fruit change is coming to you. It's like, but you need to figure out, how can you rewrite those stories for yourself? How can you set those intentions, those tenacious, goal-achieving Capricorn energy intentions for this new moon with those swords in your back? You can't. You have to rewrite that story for yourself. So your affirmation for this card is, my planning, action, and hard work will turn into the realization of my desires. And I 1000% agree. I would love to know your interpretations, your takeaways. Leave them in the comments. Feel free to message me on Instagram, email me, whatever you like. Please subscribe and like the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.